Hey kids, Cast Strong Gaming here. No beating around the bush. In this video, we're going to be going over why you should be playing Path of Exile 2 when it early access launches on December 6th this year. Now, comparatively to PoE 1, a lot of things they've been improving on exceptionally well is the skill gem being kind of revamped a bit, so you don't have to socket them into your weapons and armor anymore. You have its own separate slots and colors that coordinate accordingly. So you pretty much have 6 links on all of your skills and with the supports integrated into them. So it makes it very, very integral. But there will be sockets on your weapons and armor too that will allow you to socket apparently like runes and other gems that give you like increased resistances and like I don't know, like leech and maybe some other cool stuff that are very powerful runes. Like apparently they have versions of their rune words that they're integrating into that, so that's very nice. And that brings me to the next topic is crafting. There will be crafting in the game, of course, and I don't know if they said that a crafting bench will be in early access. I don't think it will. I think they're still figuring that all out, which is fine. Let them cook, and crafting should be a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more simplified, not completely dumbed down for the hardcore enthusiast, but definitely more easier to understand compared was to PoE 1. And they want you to crafting as you're going through the acts of the game, and that's what we want to do. We want to get familiar with this, so by the time we get to end game, we know, have a grasp of what we're doing and going from there. Okay, and that's another thing I forgot to mention. Skill gems, they even show you when you're about to pick a skill gem what it looks like. They have a little video that plays. It shows you what it does before you even get it, before you obtain it. So you have an idea. We didn't have that in PoE 1. You just had to figure it out. We just had to put it in, see what it does, mess around with it, which we're still going to have to do. But at least it gives you an idea of what you're getting into before you purchase it. So that I love. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm playing Mercenary when EA launches. Definitely going Witch Hunter. I was thinking about the Gemling because you get I think it's three more skill gem slots when you're the Gemling, and you get more resistances based on how many different color gems you have slotted in. It's 1% resilience, cold, fire, lightning resilience, depending on the color of your gems. It's cold for blue, red for fire, and then green for lightning. So, but definitely looking more forward to Witch Hunter because all the exploding nodes are coming with that. It looks so much more satisfying. But anyways, that brings me to the next point. The acts. In early access, we're not getting all 6 acts. There will be 6 acts when over time, when EA when they develop the early access as time goes on before the game fully launches, and it will be free to play. By the way, that's another valuable aspect here. But if you want to get into early access, you need to purchase a $30 supporter pack minimum, unless you've spent hundreds of dollars on the PC or Xbox version of the game. PlayStation people, I'm sorry, but Sony's a piece of shit, and they don't let you have any of your microtransactions transfer over to PoE 2, no matter how much you paid. So screw Sony for that one. That one stings, since I'm a Sony boy myself. Sad to say, I wish I would have started on PC years ago, but that's aside from the point. In this game, we're going to have 3 acts out of the 6. And once you complete all 3 acts, you'll be able to do a new game plus called Crude mode. You go through the first 3 acts all over again, but you have more challenging, more difficult enemies and bosses. But you'll keep all your items and your levels and everything. Yeah, they all carry over. It's a new game plus until the full game releases, and then we'll get 3 acts, and then the new game plus will be gone. That's what they said in the interview. Jonathan Rogers said himself, the game director, which I'm okay with. They said you want to fight not just the bosses, but the optional bosses in New Game Plus, because they're still going to drop weapon specialization passive skill points, and the permanent increases to resilience, just like they will do in normal mode. So you want to fight them all over again, not pass them up, because otherwise you'll be passing up on those buffs. So absolutely do that. And then once you get past all that, that I just said, then you get into endgame. And that'll be the next thing I'm talking about. Endgame, that's the reason why they're still cooking on the last 3 acts, because they put those aside. They want to focus on endgame. This is what Jonathan Rogers said in the interview he wanted to do this prior to 1. Because a lot of games released nowadays, they don't have endgame. They just don't. It's true. So they're focusing all hands on deck for endgame. And they showed off a little bit what we're going to be getting in early access. And we're going to be having 7 activities, which is pretty much what we've seen in PoE 1. Activities like Ritual, Expedition, Breach. And you'll be able to specialize in those skill trees. They have their own separate skill trees, which is great. And they even show off the pinnacle boss here, Jish, or whatever his name is, who is the Breach pinnacle boss. And once you defeat him, you'll get skill points on your own skill point to specialize in doing more Breach content. And you'll make the boss harder if you so choose, which you're going to want to, because you'll get more rewards that way and get more skill points for that specialization tree in the Atlas, which is great. And another reason to play PoE 2 is there's going to be more to come. We're only getting 6 out of the 12, that's right, 12 classes that's coming early access. And the 6 classes we're getting, they're getting 2 ascendancies each out of the 3 that they're supposed to get. So it's 12 ascendancies total. When the full game launches, we're going to have all 12 character classes and 36, that's right, 36 ascendancies total. And it's not counting what they might add later on in the future. So that's a lot of variety and a lot of things to do. And that's my next point for playing. There's going to be variety and hopefully a lot of variety of builds for the end game. So you be able to mess around with whatever you want, but it's going to take a lot of tinkering because we don't know exactly how difficult endgame's going to be. Even though they give us a bit of glimpse, but we still need to find out. And they did say themselves in an interview that endgame's kind of one of the most unbalanced parts right now, because we're still working on it, of course, for what we're going to be going up against. You know, how overpowered enemies will be, modified enemies, bosses, pinnacle bosses. We've only seen 1 out of the 4. And then plus there's a tower that's going to be like the ultimate end game, that you have to get keys from all the pinnacle bosses to get to the ultimate boss, pinnacle boss, whatever it is, that they haven't even shown yet because they don't want to spoil it. I understand that. It's going to be like the real deal end game channel, like Uber boss. That's what they're talking about. It's going to be the Uber boss of the end game. I can't wait to see what it is and how difficult it's going to be for people figuring out. And it's going to take probably a very niche amount, certain amount of builds to be able to overcome these bosses, especially the Uber boss, where you're going to need solid defense and offense and all this and that. Anyways, outside of that, variety, campaigns, everything, leveling up, just being an ARPG, you want that sort of Diablo experience, like Diablo 2 old school kind of feel. That's what it's looking like to me. A bit slower, a little more methodical, not too zoomy like PoE 1 for now until we get to the end game. Then we can zoom a little more and blast. But yeah, newcomer friendly, not seriously dumbed down like a lot of people think it is. But anyways, those are kind of the main points here I'm talking about. There's other activities they're bringing in, of course, Delirium to end game and all previous leagues we've had. Activities have come from those leagues, but they seem to be improving on these activities more, so you can specialize in them as you go through it, and you're going to want to anyways because of the rewards and getting to all those pinnacle bosses. So, let's see what else. I think those are all pretty much the main points. And whatever builds you guys see, whatever people are saying tier lists and whatever the builds they're coming up with, don't listen to them because we don't know anything. There's nothing concrete. It's all theory crafting right now until we tinker around with the actual game hands-on. So that's what's most important. So anybody saying anything, it's just a whole lot of fluff based on the nodes and the skill tree and everything we've seen. It's just not enough to go on. It all sounds good until we play it. And that's where the real tier lists and meta builds and all this shit's going to come out. And it's going to be actual concrete. And that brings me to pretty much my last point here. I might have breezed over some stuff, but whatever. It's gone on long enough. is the skill tree itself, where you start, where you need to go. You want to capitalize on your build and not get confused and go in different directions, have to respec later. Even though we have gold for respec, I'm sure it'll get expensive the longer you spec in more points into the skill tree. So you want to have an idea of what you want to go for, and they're going to put path of building integrated into PoE 2 as time goes on. It won't be there at EA launch, but they're talking about integrating it as time goes on. And also, they're going to bring Druid and the Huntress classes during EA. They said those will be the next ones to come. I think that's word for it. I don't know if Druid's going to come first or Huntress, but it sounds like probably Druid first, which I want that more. It looks so badass. And back to the other point, during the skill tree, you're not sure what you want. Have an idea. Mess around with some skills. Like, for example, I'm going mercenary, right? I'm doing crossbow. There's a specialization weapon crossbow skill tree I want to get to capitalize on. There's grenade cooldown nodes. I want those. That's what I need to go for. Elemental damage, because I'm going to do fire and ice. So I want to capitalize on elemental damage. Any kind of defense along the way, even though there's no technically life on the tree, or there's very few. You want to focus on those damage nodes that make sense. And so you're not wasting time like getting things you're not going to use, like, wand damage when I'm using a crossbow. Obviously, you're not going to want that. You're going to want crossbow damage, two-handed damage because it's a two-handed weapon, things like that. So, anyways, these are just some of the things. I'm sure I missed a few points, but whatever. This video's gone on long enough. Why you should be playing PoE when it comes out on December 6th for early access. So, if you guys like this video, if it's entertaining enough, or if I bored you out of your mind, please like and subscribe, or don't, whatever you want. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out, come scouts.